What's up, everybody? Happy Friday night to you. This is break number 1303BD. That's a 1303BD 2024 Panini Crusade Baseball Premium Case. 20 boxes in the pick your team break. 2 autos per box is what I was seeing for this product, which is nice. Let's go ahead. It's not licensed, but it's still a beautiful product from Panini. Let's get into the case. It's a humongous case. All right. There's 10. Five more is 15. 17. 19. 20 boxes. Box number 1 right here. Uh, 12 packs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. All right, first box, here we go. Take a little time with this first box. See what we got here. There we go. Sal Frelick is our first auto. Sal Frelick is our first auto for Milwaukee. That is not numbered. Kobe Mayo, 5 out of 99. First numbered card. Josh Noth, not numbered. Yanquiel Fernandez on the Squires. Kendall George for the Dodgers, not numbered. Bobby Dorr, that is 25 out of 299 for Boston. Kendall George. Andrew Painter. Gary Sheffield, Juggernauts. That is Spencer Jones for the Yankees, 172 out of 250. Bill Lee. Andres Galarraga. That is 197 out of 199 for Washington. Colson Montgomery. Jet Williams, for the Mets. Squires of Jacob Mizorowski. Colson Montgomery. Paul O'Neill. Joe DiMaggio on the royalty. Juan Bin Cho. That is numbered 28 out of 199 for the St. Louis Cardinals. Emerson Hancock on the auto. Rookie auto, Emerson Hancock for Seattle. Apprentice auto, not numbered. Josue de Paula. Jonathan Papelbon, 140 out of 299 for the Red Sox. That's Ryan Lasco for Oakland. Willie McCovey. Blake Mitchell for Kansas City, 93 out of 199. Bobby Dorr. Noah Schultz, Squires Jackson Jobe, Ryan Lasco. Drew Jones. We got Christian Vaquero, 38 out of 49. That is for Washington. Bobby Dorr. Drew Gilbert. Royalty, there's Duke Snyder. And purple of Cincinnati's Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan on the purple, that is 5 out of 100. 5 out of 100. Box number 2. 6, 6. Let's see if it's faster doing them single packs. Here we go. Chase Davis, Aiden Miller. That is Alfonso Treadwell, 56 out of 299. Randy Johnson on the blue. Eric Gagne. Juggernauts, Rafael Palmeiro. That is a green Rhett Lauder for Cincinnati. Green Rhett Lauder. Green and yellow is numbered to 199, excuse me, 86 out of 199. There's Rafi Velasquez. Zach Neto for the Angels. That is numbered 7 out of 10 on the gold. Gold gang. Max Anderson. Bert Blyleven. Sebastian Walcott, Jacob Melton. First auto. That's a nice rookie auto of Mason Wynn. Mason Wynn for the St. Louis Cardinals. Nice hit. Kid's doing really good. Kyle Teal. Carson Williams, that one is numbered 98 out of 199. Dylan Cruz, blue and yellow. There's Colin Hawk for the Mets. That is Kirby Puckett on the royalty. Green, Colton Ledbetter for Tampa Bay. That is going to be numbered 172 out of 250. Sorry guys. Need to grab some more penny sleeves. Give me a second. There we go. Ricky Tiedemann. Here's Will Clark, purple. 47 out of 99. Dylan Cruz. Andy Murray. Squires of Marcelo Mayer. Aaron Judge. Yohani Morales. That is Christian Vaquero for Washington, 150 out of 299. Cade Horton. Johnny Damon. Royalty, that is Tom Seaver. That is Johnny Farmello for Seattle. Green and yellow. 151 out of 250. 151 out of 250. Next auto, that's a nice one for a young gun right there. Chase Jung. Chase Jung, Detroit. Phil Necro. There is Kemp Alderman. 102 out of 199. Chase Jung. Last pack of box 2. Fred Lynn. Squires, Colson Montgomery. And there's Alonzo Treadwell. Box number 3. That is Nolan Ryan on the nightcap case hit. Nightcap case hit of Nolan Ryan for Texas. Very nice. Owen Murphy, Noble Mayer. That's 198 out of 199. Noah Schultz. George Brett. Royalty, that is Willie McCovey. Baltimore, Colton Cowser, rookie. That's gold. It is 6 out of 10. Rookie gold, 6 out of 10. Kobe Mayo. That is Tom Seaver on the royalty, 51 out of 99. What's up, Roy? Any good hits yet? How about a Tom Seaver nightcap? Nolan Ryan nightcap for Texas. Couple of nice young nice autos, Roy. So yeah, it's been pretty good so far through 2.5 boxes. Roderick Arias, Roman Anthony on the Squires. Yanquel Fernandez. Yeah. Second auto. That is Grayson Rodriguez for Baltimore. Is that the second one from this? No, first auto from this box. Grayson Rodriguez for Baltimore. Robbie Snelling, Emerson Hancock. That is a 196 out of 299. Mick Abel. Sammy Stafura, Frank Thomas. We got Bobby Dorr for the Red Sox. 182 out of 199. Hanley Ramirez. That is Will Clark, 125 out of 299. And Mac Horvath. Roman Anthony. Brock Wilkin on the Squires. Cam Collier. Taj Bradley. Bernie Williams, 38 out of 99. Drew Hackenberg. Mark McGuire, excuse me. And that is River Ryan for the Dodgers. That one is 172 out of 250. 172 out of 250. Second auto. That's going to be Paul Konerko for the Chicago White Sox. Paul Konerko, number 37 out of 99. 37 out of 99, Paul Konerko. Rafi Furcal, Justin Crawford, 130 out of 299. And Thomas White. Last pack of box 3. Zach Neto, Jackson Churio, and there's Tamar Johnson. Box number 4. What's up, John? How are you? Box number 4. Nice. 12 packs. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Here we go. Box number 4. Roderick Arias, Roman Anthony. There's Luis Angel Acuna. Robbie Snelling. There's Nick Lofton, 84 out of 199. And Noble Mayo. Oh man, that sucks, bro. There's Sammy Stafura, Frank Thomas Juggernaut. That is Kendall George for the Dodgers. Kendall George. That is 149 out of 250. First auto, another one of Jace Jung. Jace Jung for Detroit. That's a double up. We got Christian Vaquero. Robbie Snelling, 224 out of 299. Kyle Teal going to the Red Sox. Alex Clemmie, Hurston Waldrop. There's Brandon Maia, excuse me. Brandon Maia. Moises Ballesteros. Jonathan Papelbon, 7 of 99. Andrew Painter. Roberto Alomar, royalty of Eddie Matthews. That is a purple Junior Caminero rookie. Purple rookie, Junior Caminero. That is 2 out of 100. 1 out of 100. Nice. First off the print. Very nice hit for the rookie Junior Caminero. Nice hit for Tampa Bay. Harry Ford. There's Jack Leiter, 37 out of 199. Connor Norby. Cole Young. There's Drew Jones. Next auto, Mason Wynn. Double up of Mason Wynn. Rookie auto for St. Louis. We got Dylan Cruz. Yu-Min Lin, 299 out of 299. And Yu-Min Lin on the blue. Dylan Cruz. Colt Keith. That is Ralphie Velasquez for Cleveland, green and yellow. This green and yellow is 3 out of 250. 3 out of 250. Last pack of box 4. Mike Mussina. That is numbered 279 out of 299. Box number 5. box number 5. Addison Barger, Brooks Lee, 75 of 299. Roman Anthony. Ben Rice. There's Reggie Crawford. Paul Molitor, green and yellow. That one is 81 out of 199 going to Minnesota. Drew Jones, Drew Gilbert, 59 of 199. Jake Geloff. Noah Schultz, Jackson Jobe, and that is Adrian Santana. First auto, that's Mason Wynn again. That's our third Mason Wynn auto. Third Mason Wynn auto for St. Louis. St. Louis kind of eating on the autos. Josue de Paula. Juan Bin Cho for St. Louis, 273 out of 299. Ken Griffey Jr. for Cincinnati. Paul O'Neill, royalty George Brett. There's Josue de Paula for the Dodgers. That is 158 out of 250. Hanley Ramirez, 272 out of 299. Jacob Gonzalez. Diego Cartaya for the Dodgers. Carson Williams, Squires, Jet Williams for the Mets. Bobby Dorr. Pete Crow Armstrong, rookie, 47 out of 49. Nice one. Willie Stargell. Jace Boffrin. That is Mickey Mantle. Thomas White on the orange and yellow for Miami. Thomas White, 49 out of 49. Andy Pages. Nice one. Rookie for the Dodgers. Andy Pages on the auto for the Dodgers. Good player. Good young player. Not numbered. There's Bobby Abreu. Ty Madden, 144 out of 199. Colin Hawk for the Mets. That is Charlie Soto. Ethan Salas. Jose Perdomo for Atlanta. Box number 6. right, box number 6. Here we go. Kevin McGonigal. Fred Lynn, numbered 20 out of 49. That is Jacob Melton for Houston. Goose Gossage for Oakland. We got Pedro Martinez, Colton Cowser. Andres Galarraga. That is Willie Mays on the royalty. That one is numbered 12 out of 49. Ivan Melendez. Willie Mays going to the New York Giants, San Francisco Giants. Spencer Jones, Brock Porter, Josue De Paula. Next auto, good young catcher for the Oakland A's, Tyler Soderstrom. Here's Harmon Killebrew. Rod Carew, 196 out of 199 going to Minnesota. Drew Gilbert for the Mets. Ozzie Guillen, Blake Mitchell. That is Sammy Stafura for the Cincinnati Reds. That one is number 214 out of 250. 214 out of 250. Joe Girardi. That is Ryan Zimmerman, 14 out of 299. Ivan Melendez for the Diamondbacks. Matt Shaw for the Cubs. Tamar Jackson, Drew Gilbert for the Mets. Bruce Sutter for St. Louis. That is Justin Crawford, 16 out of 99 for Philadelphia. Aaron Judge. Alonzo Treadwell, Mike Schmidt. That is purple of Ryan Sandberg. Ryan Sandberg to 100. That is 34 out of 100. 94 out of 100. Excuse me, 94. Next auto, Andy Pages again for the Dodgers. Andy Pages for the Dodgers. I think that's the third auto in this box. For some reason I'm counting. It's possible. Larry Walker. Dylan Cruz, 97 out of 299. Alonzo Treadwell. Mark Mulder, Luis Angel Acuna, and that's Jeff Bagwell. Box number 6. That was box number 6. Box number 7. Box number 7. Colt Keith, Harry Ford, Jacob Melton. Our auto going to the New York Yankees, Chin-Ming Wan. Chin-Ming Wan, Majestic Marks, not numbered for the Yankees. Adam Dunn, Thomas White, 39 out of 99. Bubba Chandler, Cam Collier. That is a nice one. That is Matt Shaw for the Cubbies. Gold. That is 5 out of 10. Matty Shaw for the Cubbies. There's no rookie symbol, so that means it must be second year Matt Shaw. Harry Ford. Thomas White. 36 out of 199. Dylan Cruz. Connor Norby, Cole Young, Aaron Judge. We got Dylan Cruz, Lou Piniella, 253 out of 299. And there's Blake Mitchell for Kansas City. Dylan Cruz, Colt Keith Juggernaut. There's Bryce Matthews, purple. Bryce Matthews, purple for Houston. That is 72 out of 100. Next auto, Jose Ramos, Prentice Signatures, 42 out of 99. Jose Ramos going to the Dodgers. Ty Floyd. There's David Wells, 30 out of 199 for the Yankees. Mick Abel, Zach Geloff, 255 out of 299. River Ryan for the Dodgers. Adrian Santana royalty, Cal Ripken. That is Roman Anthony on the green. That is numbered 17 out of 250. Griff McGarry. That is the big unit. Randy Johnson for Arizona. That is numbered 38 out of 49. 38 of 49. Last pack. Mike Mussina, Drew Gilbert, and there is Alonzo Treadwell. That was box number 7. 7 on our way to 20. Box number 8. Here we go. Ty Madden. Bob Feller, 190 out of 199. Lou Piniella. Bryce Matthews, Jace Jung. Evan Carter, rookie. Moises Ballesteros, 56 out of 199 for the Cubbies. Enrique Bradfield Jr. Ryan Howard, Spencer Jones on the Juggernauts, and Kirby Puckett, Minnesota, green and yellow. That is numbered 138 out of 199. First auto is Brooks Lee. Brooks Lee, apprentice signature for the Minnesota Twinkies. The Twins. Not numbered. Will Clark. There's David Wells, 30 out of 299. Francisco Velorio. George Lombard Jr., Randy Johnson, Montreal going to Washington. Gino Groover, that is Cal Ripken. Miles Naylor, that is 94 out of 250. 94 of 250. There's Cam Collier on the Juggernauts, 21 of 99. Harry Ford. David Wells, Matt Shaw, and Max Anderson. We got a redemption. That is Phil Necro, 203 out of 299. Brock Wilken. Our redemption. Apprentice signatures. Pete Crow Armstrong. Pete Crow Armstrong, apprentice signatures. I believe this is the same exact Pete Crow Armstrong apprentice signature I've been waiting for almost 2 years. If I were you, whoever's got the Cubs, you may want to take points or take something else. Just giving you a heads up. This same product I bought. My own personal box, and I got a Pete Crow Armstrong redemption, and I'm still waiting on it. Ivan Melendez, Colt Keith for Detroit. 41 of 199. Max Muncy. That is Jimmy Rollins, 25 out of 49. And Cade Horton. Box number 9. Mine was actually Boys of Summer, but it's still a Pete Crow Armstrong from 2024, which is the same that they use for this product. So, I mean, you might get yours, but I would check. Rhett Lauder. That is Burp Lylevin, 19 out of 299. Rhino. Kendall George. Bryce Eldridge for the Giants. That is Joandre Vargas for the Dodgers. That one is number 232 out of 250. Cole Young. Jim Edmonds, 52 of 99. Adel Amador. Jay Geloff. Paul Skeens, rookie. That is Brock Wilken from Milwaukee. First auto. That's going to the Minnesota Twins. Apprentice signatures, 96 out of 99. That is Edouard Julien. Edouard Julien to 99.
Chase Dolander. 37/299, Thomas White. That is Hector Rodriguez for Cincinnati. Robert Hassel. Royalty, that's Eddie Matthews. Milwaukee Braves going to Atlanta Braves. And that is Wo Bin Chow for the St. Louis Cardinals on the red and gold. 5/25. Robin Yount. That's Ricky Tiedemann, 164/199. Brooks Lee, Noble Mayer, Joandry Vargas. Jacob Wilson, Chase Young, 84/299, George Lombard Jr. Curtis Mead, that is Eddie Murray. Ivan Melendez for the Diamondbacks. That is 11/199. Next auto, that is Oscar Colas for the White Sox. Oscar Colas. Apprentice signature, not numbered. Ryan Klesko. Jet Williams, 179/199 for the Mets. And that is Monty Irving. Jeremy De La Rosa, Tank Hance, Harry Ford to finish this off. Box number 9. Box number 10. It's gotta be an easier way to get these packs out. How about that? Nothing in the box. Anything's better than having to go through the top of the frickin' box. Box number 10. Taj Bradley. How about a rookie Paul Skeens? 99/99. Paul Skeens rookie, 99/99. Nice hit for Pittsburgh. Drew Hackenberg, Mark McGuire, Dylan Cruz, green and yellow. That is 235/250. Rafael Furcal, Brooks Robinson, 129 out of 299. Jake Geloff. Zach Neto, Jackson Churio, Sammy Stafura, another redemption, Owen Murphy, Bernie Williams, 133 out of 199, Ken Griffey Jr. This redemption is going to be Pete Crow Armstrong again on the Apprentice signatures. Expired January of 2026, but they will give you something. That's 2. Both of them the exact same. George Brett, royalty of Eddie Murray. There's Drew Gilbert for the Mets. 65 of 199. We got Elian Soto, Drew Jones, 47 of 299. There's Robbie Snelling. Giovanni Rodriguez for the Mets. Tommy Troy, Kemp Alderman. Gary Carter, Kyle Manzardo, 194 out of 199. Willie Stargell. Dustin Harris, Johnny Bench, and Josue De Paula. That one is numbered in 184 out of 199. Next auto, Brooks Lee again. Apprentice signatures of Brooks Lee. Hanley Ramirez, Roman Anthony, 292 out of 299. Colin Hawk. Roman Anthony, Brock Wilken. There is Nolan Chanuel for the Angels. Finish off box number 10. Halfway point. Box number 11. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Faster than showing you guys the box. Box 11. There's Bobby Abreu. Emerson Hancock. That is $34.99. Paul Skeens on the blue and yellow. Nick Lofton, Elijah Green, Jacob Wilson. That is 159 out of 199. Emerson Hancock, Gavin Stone. That is 189 out of 299. Sammy Zavala, Spencer Jones, Wo Bin Chow. Another redemption. We got Elian Soto, 136 out of 199. Spencer Jones. This redemption goes to Cedane Rafaela and the Boston Red Sox. Same deal. Just let them know that this is expired out of a product of theirs and they will take care of it. Cedane Rafaela for the Red Sox. Trevor Hoffman, Mariano Rivera, Chet Williams. That is 196 out of 250. 196 out of 250. Tamar Johnson, Jimmy Rollins, 83 out of 299. Paul Skeens rookie. Miles Naylor, Chase Dollander, Colt Keith. Mitch Jebb. There's Jack Morris, 28 out of 199. Jeff Bagwell. Yu-Min Lin for Arizona. That is Mike Piazza for the Mets. How about Al Kaline for Detroit? Orange and yellow. Orange and yellow, Al Kaline, 2 out of 49. Next auto is Aramis Ramirez. Majestic Marks. Aramis Ramirez going to the Cubs. Not numbered. Bobby Dorr. Fred Lynn, that's 137 out of 299 going to the Angels. And Josue de Paula. There is Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. Bryce Eldridge. And Spencer Jones. Box number 12. Box number 12. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Jacob Gonzalez, Nick Gonzalez, 96 of 99, and that's Adrian Santana. Kevin Alcantara, Johnny Bench. There's Kendall George for the Dodgers. Kendall George, that's 177 out of 199. Miguel Bryce Eldridge on the Squires, 48 out of 99. Nice hit for the Giants. Miles Naylor. Zach Geloff, Kyle Teal, Enrique Bradfield Jr. Next auto, going to the Yankees, Everson Pereira, rookie. Everson Pereira, rookie auto, not numbered. Ronnie Williams. Colin Hawk for the Mets, 262 out of 299. Grant Taylor for the White Sox. David Cohn. Albert Pujols. There's Willie Stargell. That one is 21 out of 250. Kirby Puckett. Alan Trammell, 47 out of 299. Ryan Sandberg. Kyle Manzardo. There's Justin Crawford and Adele Amador. Cade Horton for the Cubbies. Colt Keith. Colt Keith numbered 48 out of 199. Jet Williams. Tyler Black Edgar Martinez. There is J.D. Gonzalez. Nice purple and yellow to 100 for the Padres. That is 73 out of 100. Next auto, Zach Neto for the Los Angeles Angels. Zach Neto. Apprentice signatures not numbered. Luis Baez. Mitch Jebb, 208 out of 299. Jose Perdomo for Atlanta. Blake Mitchell. There's Rhett Lauder. And Hector Rodriguez for Cincinnati to finish it off. That was box number 12. Box number 13. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All cards ship. Hao Yu Lee. Homer Bush, 82 out of 299. Paul Skeens. Ryan Howard, Spencer Jones, purple for Boston, Kyle Teal. That is out of 100. That is 75 out of 100 for the Red Sox. Ricky Tiedemann. There's Jonathan Papelbon, 143 out of 199. Tink Hence, George Lombard Jr., Yanquiel Fernandez. Next auto, that's a nice one. Rookie Colton Cowser for the Orioles. Rookie Colton Cowser, not numbered, for Baltimore. Yeah, Kevin McGonigal. Chase Davis, 187 out of 299. Gino Groover for Arizona. That is Willie Mays. Ty Floyd for Cincinnati. Green and yellow. That is numbered 135 out of 136 out of 250. It's 135 or 136. Will Clark, Zach Neto, 72 out of 299. Matt Horvath for Baltimore. Jake Geloff, Paul Skeens, and Kim Collier. Ty Madden, Burp Lylevin, 27 out of 49. Jeff Bagwell. Robert Hassel, Crusades, there is Trevor Hoffman. For the Diamondbacks, Yu-Min Lin. That is 232 out of 250. Next auto. That's another Andy Pages auto for the Dodgers. Andy Pages for the Dodgers. Not sure if that's 2 or 3. That's 3. Not to mention 2 Pete Crow Armstrong redemptions. We got Brooks Robinson. Paul Skeens, numbered to 199. That is 110 out of 199. Josue De Paula. Lou Piniella. That is Bryce Matthews and Tamar Johnson. Box number 14. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here we go. Chase Dollander. That is Daniel Espino, 283 out of 299. And Jacob Melton. Espino goes to Cleveland. Curtis Mead. That is Ozzie Smith. Kevin Parada for the New York, I think that's the Mets. But I will double check this one before. Yeah, I think it's the Mets. Could be the Yankees. 22 out of 25. I will double check that one right now. I got the checklist up. Let's see. Okay, card number 34. Going. Parada is a Met. I was right the first time. Okay. Max Muncy. Colson Montgomery for the White Sox. That is 25 out of 49. 25 out of 49 on the Squires. Grabbing some more top loaders, guys. Give me a second. Thank you. Jeremy De La Rosa, Tink Hens, Luis Baez. Next auto, that's Colson Montgomery for the White Sox. Prentice signature. Evan Carter. That is Dylan Cruz, 67 of 99. Kendall George. Bryce Eldridge. That is Noah Schultz for the White Sox. That one is numbered 41 out of 199. Miguel Weiss, Brennan Davis. That is 86 out of 199. Zach Geloff, Kyle Teal, Brock Porter. Larry Walker. That's Trevor Hoffman, 104 out of 299. Aaron Judge. Albert Pujols. That is Junior Caminero, numbered green and yellow again on the rookie. That is 13 out of 250. Jace Jung again on the auto. I think that's number 3 or 4 for him. Three on the Jace Jung. Cole Young. Miles Naylor, 52 out of 199. Brooks Lee, Noble Mayer, Frank Thomas. That ends box number 14. Box number 14 in the books. Box number 15. Three, 6, 9, 12. Raleigh Fingers. Owen Murphy, that is 11 of 99. Going to Atlanta. Cade Cooler for Atlanta. That's Yogi Berra. Grant Taylor for the White Sox. That one is numbered 88 out of 199. Jeff Bagwell. Tamar Johnson, 134 out of 299. Jacob Mizorowski. Brady House. Juan Gonzalez. Another Mason Wynn auto. I think that's number 4. Mason Wynn on the auto. Jimmy Rollins. Nick Lofton, 161 out of 299. Nathan Zentella. Ethan Salas. That is nice. A gold for Colorado. Adel Amador. 3 out of 10 gold. There is Griff McGarry. Kyle Manzardo, 288 out of 299. Cole Keith, Harry Ford, and there's Ralphie Velasquez. Adam Dunn, Javi Lopez, 103 out of 199. Ethan Salas. Bubba Chandler, Cam Collier. That is Tamar Johnson for the Pittsburgh Pirates, orange and yellow. Orange and yellow, that is numbered 48 out of 49. Next auto, another Brooks Lee auto. This one is numbered 21 of 99. 21 of 99, Brooks Lee for Minnesota. Espino. There's Bernie Williams, 21 of 199 of 299. Excuse me. Chase Davis. We got Alex Ramirez, Cole Keith, and Bryce Matthews for Houston. Box number 16. Three, 6, 9, 12. Carlton Fisk, Bobby Richardson, that is 157 out of 299. Brady House, Washington. Bobby Richardson should be the New York Giants, I believe. I got the checklist, so I will double check everything. Mark Grace. That is the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Smith. That is Robbie Snelling for the Padres. Orange and yellow, 32 out of 49. Jack Leiter. That's Blake Mitchell on the Juggernauts Gold. Nice hit for the Kansas City Royals. 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, Blake Mitchell Gold. Colton Cowser. Juan Marichal, Noah Schultz, Brady House. Next auto, Jordan Lawler. That is 87 out of 99 going to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Tommy White. There's Brock Porter. And the card that stuck to Tommy White was Alex Ramirez for the Mets. That is 139 out of 299. Marcelo Mayer, Alex Rodriguez. There's Carson Williams for Tampa Bay, green and yellow. This one is numbered 164 out of 199. Javi Lopez, Nathan Zantello, that is 188 out of 299. Josh Nath. That is Drew Jones. Tommy Troy for Arizona. Both the last two cards have been Arizona. There's Bob Feller. Grant Taylor, 87 out of 199 for the White Sox. Tommy Troy for Arizona again. Jim Edmonds, Cecil Fielder. That is Matt Shaw for the Cubs, green and yellow. That is numbered 168 out of 250. Next auto, nice one. Austin Wells for the Yankees. Well, when he was playing good, it was a nice one. Austin Wells, runner-up of the Rookie of the Year that year. Colson Montgomery. Kirby Puckett, 230 out of 299. He lost Rookie of the Year to his own teammate, Luis Gil, for the Yankees. That is Tomoyuki Sagano for Ricky Tiedemann and Kevin McGonigal. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Let's see, out of 20, this is box number 17. Box number 17 out of 20. Here we go. Dylan Cruz. Kobe Mayo, 189 out of 299. Bryce Matthews. Dylan Cruz. Cole Keith. That's nice. A purple Ivan Melendez for the Diamondbacks. Purple. That is numbered 44 out of 100. 44 out of 100. Ty Floyd. Nick Lofton, 21 out of 49. Juan Gonzalez. Mike Mussina, Drew Gilbert, that's Mick Abel. Another redemption. Edney Rodriguez, that is 169 out of 199. Next redemption. Apprentice Signatures Silver. Card 11. There's PCA again. Pete Crow Armstrong. Third redemption of the break. Adrian Santana. There's Pudge. Dylan Head for San Diego. That is numbered 104 out of 250. Christian Vaquero for Washington. Josh Noth, 186 out of 199. Thomas White. We got Alex Clemmie, Hurston Waldrop, Noah Schultz. Braylon Morrell. That's Moises Ballesteros, Matt Shaw, 66 out of 299. Excuse me. Roberto Alomar. That is Joe Morgan for the Reds. Jacob Wilson, green and yellow on the color match for the A's. That is 18 out of 250. Next auto, Oscar Colas for the second time for the White Sox. Harry Ford, Nick Lofton, 7 out of 99. Ralphie Velasquez. Nick Lofton going to Kansas City. Connor Norby, Cole Young, and Felnine Celestin. Box number 18. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We got Paul Skeens, Pete Crow Armstrong, 179 out of 299. And there's JD Gonzalez. Braylon Morrell, Xavier Isaac, there's Braden Brando Maea for the Yankees. Brando Maea, 135 out of 199. Juan Bin Cho. Dylan Cruz, 33 of 49. Kirby Puckett. Edney Rodriguez. Andrew Painter on the Squires. That is for New York. Monty Irvin. Again, I will double check. I'm not sure if that's the Yankees or the Giants. I got the checklist, but I'm not going to stop to check right now. It's not an important autograph or anything. Nolan Shanuel, Angels, 86 out of 99. Second auto for Nolan Shanuel and the Angels. Emmett Sheehan, Jackson Joe, he's Giants. I thought so, Rick. Thank you, bud. I thought so. 73 of 199. Jacob Gonzalez. How you been, Rick? Kevin Parada. There's Greg Maddux and Blake Walters for Kansas City. That is 98 out of 250. Nice, buddy. Nice. Cool Papa Bell. Alex Clemmy, 186 out of 199. Zach Veen. Mick Abel on the Squires. That is Grant Taylor. Billy Williams. Drew Gilbert, 93 out of 299. Xavier Isaac. Omar Vizquel. There's Lou Brock. That's a nice one. For Arizona, Yu-Min Lin, orange and yellow. Yu-Min Lin. That is 2 out of 49. Next auto, another Austin Wells auto for the Yankees. Austin Wells, rookie auto. Brandon Sproat, Alex Ramirez. That is 98 of 99. Ty Floyd. Last pack of box number 18. James Wood, Cade Horton, George Lombard Jr. Box number 19. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Been going 2 hours straight on this break. Non-stop ripping. Talk about an annoying product. Because everything's backwards and forwards. Brady House. Matt Shaw, 88 out of 99. Caminero. My throat is going to be gone after this. I'm glad I got the day off tomorrow. Okay. Jace Boffrin. There's Lou Brock. Hector Rodriguez for Cincinnati. That is number 29 out of 199. And I gotta still sort this thing tonight. Harold Baines, Justin Crawford, 52 of 99, and Ty Pete. Charlie Soto, Ethan Salas. There's Harold Baines, old school Chicago uniform. First auto. This one is J.R. Ritchie going to Atlanta. J.R. Ritchie. This one is numbered 96 out of 99. Addison Barger. Paul Skeens to 299. That is 194 out of 299. Harold Baines again. Ben Rice. Reggie Crawford. There is Adel Amador for Colorado. That is numbered 82 out of 250. Eric Chavez. Brennan Davis, 293 out of 299. There's Dylan Head. Reggie Crawford. James Wood on the Squires. Junior Caminero. Mac Horvath. Sammy Zavala. That is 106 out of 199. Juan Bincho. Sammy Zavala for San Diego. Juggernaut Pudge Rodriguez. That is Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, on the purple and yellow to 100. That is numbered 13 out of 100. Two packs to go in box number 19. Jacob Berry for Miami on the auto. Jacob Berry. Not numbered. Jacob Melton, Miles Naylor, 125 out of 299. Diego Cartaya, Carson Williams, and Ty Pete to finish off box 19. Box 20. Three, 6, 9, 12. Last 12 packs. Then we got a recap. It's not a small recap. Phil Rizzuto. That is Trevor Hoffman. Yanquiel Fernandez for Colorado. That is numbered 85 out of 250. Auto. That's a nice one. That's Nick Gonzalez for the Pirates. Nick Gonzalez on the auto for the Pirates. Luis Angel Acuna. Gavin Stone, 33 of 49. That is Jack Morris, Jace Jung, Frank Thomas, Adel Amador. There's Kyle Manzardo for Cleveland, 52 of 99. Catfish Hunter, Enrique Bradfield Jr., and Brock Porter. Nick Gonzalez. How about Nick Gonzalez again? 150 out of 299. And Frank Thomas again. Giovanni Rodriguez, Tommy Troy, Luis Baez, Next auto, Zach Geloff for the A's. Zach Geloff. Gary Carter. Josue De Paula for the Dodgers. That's 43 of 199. Dustin Harris. Royalty, Willie Mays. River Ryan for the Dodgers. Green and yellow. That is 155 out of 199. Ty Pete. Ozzie Guillen. 16 out of 199. Going to the White Sox. Gavin Stone. Jose Canseco. That's Tommy Troy for the Diamondbacks, purple and yellow to 100. That is 24 out of 100. I'm sorry, 34 out of 100. And our last pack. Elian Soto. Jim Edmonds for St. Louis, 123 out of 299, and Cam Collier. There's your break, my friends. 20 boxes. Wow. Alright, here we go. Recap time. These are all to $2.99. Alright, we got Fred Lynn, Jimmy Rollins, Gavin Stone, Roman Anthony, Drew Jones, Brooks Robinson, Jace Young. We got Thomas White, Burt Blyleven, Phil Necro, David Wells, Zach Geloff, Lou Piniella, Dylan Cruz, Ryan Zimmerman, Hanley Ramirez, Juan Ben Cho, Brooks Lee, Mike Mussina, Yumin Lin, Robbie Snelling, Justin Crawford, Will Clark, Emerson Hancock, Christian Vaquero, Alonzo Treadwell. Second half, Papelbon. We got Bobby Dorr, Jim Edmonds, Nick Gonzalez, Miles Naylor, Brennan Davis, Paul Skeens, Drew Gilbert, Pete Armstrong, Matt Shaw, Kobe Mayo, Kirby Puckett, Nathan Zantello, Alex Ramirez, Bernie Williams, Kyle Manzardo, Nick Lofton, Tamar Johnson, Trevor Hoffman, Daniel Espino, Zach Neto, Chase Davis, Homer Bush, Mitch Jebb, Alan Trammell, and Colin Hawk. To 250. We got Yanquiel Fernandez, Adel Amador, Blake Walters, Jacob Wilson, Dylan Head, Matt Shaw, Junior Caminero, Yumin Lin, Ty Floyd, Willie Stargell, Jet Williams, Dylan Cruz, Johendry Vargas, Miles Naylor, Roman Anthony, Sammy Stafura, Josue De Paula, Paul Molitor, Ralphie Velasquez, Kendall George, River Ryan, Johnny Farmello, Colton Ledbetter, and Spencer Jones. Out of 199. $199, here we go. We got River Ryan, Josue de Paula, Bernie Williams, Jet Williams, Ivan Melendez, Ricky Tiedemann, Colt Keith, Kirby Puckett, Moises Ballesteros, Bob Feller, David Wells, Thomas White, Rod Carew, Ty Madden, Drew Gilbert, Jack Leiter, Nick Lofton, Bobby Dorr, Noble Mayer, Kemp Alderman, Rhett Lauder, Juan Bin Chu, I don't care anymore, Carson Williams, Blake Mitchell, and Andres Galarraga. Ozzie Guillen, Sammy Zavala, Hector Rodriguez, Alex Clemmy, Jackson Job, Brando Maia, Josh Noth, Andy Rodriguez, Grant Taylor, Carson Williams, Bobby Richardson, Javi Lopez, Grant Taylor, Miles Naylor, Brennan Davis, Noah Schultz, Paul Skeens, Papelbon. We got Colt Keith, Kendall George, Jack Morris, Elian Soto, Jacob Wilson, Josue de Paula, Kyle Manzardo, and Drew Gilbert. Out of 100, Tommy Troy, Frank Thomas, Yvonne Melendez, Kyle Teal, J.D. Gonzalez, Bryce Matthews, Ryan Sandberg, and Junior Caminero. We also had Joe Morgan. Out of 99, Kyle Manzardo, Justin Crawford, Matt Shaw, Alex Ramirez, Nick Lofton, Owen Murphy, Dylan Cruz, Bryce Eldridge, Nick Gonzalez, Emerson Hancock, Paul Skeens, Jim Edmonds, Cam Collier, Thomas White, Justin Crawford, Jonathan Papelbon, Bernie Williams. That is Tom Seaver, Will Clark, and Kobe Mayo. Out of 49, we got Gavin Stone, Yumin Lin, Dylan Cruz, Nick Lofton, Robbie Snelling, Tamar Johnson, Colson Montgomery, Burt Blyleven, Al Kaline, Jimmy Rollins. There is the big unit, Randy Johnson. That is Willie Mays, Fred Lynn, Thomas White, Pete Crow Armstrong, Christian Vaquero. Out of 25, we had Kevin Parada and Juan Bin Cho. Out of 10, Blake Mitchell. That is Adel Amador for Colorado. That one right there is Matt Shaw for the Cubs. Colton Cowser for the Orioles, and Zach Neto for the Angels. Our autos, not numbered. Here we go. We got Zach Geloff, Nick Gonzalez, Jacob Berry, Austin Wells, Oscar Colas, Austin Wells, Colson Montgomery, Colton Cowser, Zach Neto, Everson Pereira, Aramis Ramirez, Oscar Colas, Chin Ming Wong, Tyler Soderstrom, Grayson Rodriguez, Emerson Hancock, Sal Freeland, Jace Jung. We had Brooks Lee. We had Mason Wynn, and Mason Wynn. Andy Pajes. Our redemptions, Sedane Rafaela for the Red Sox. 3 Pete Crow Armstrong redemptions for the Cubs. Our numbered autos, out of 99, I believe all of these are. Yes, they are. J.R. Ritchie, Nolan Shanuel for the Angels, Jordan Lawler, Brooks Lee, Edward Julian, Jose Ramos, and Paul Konerko. Our case hit, that is nightcap of Nolan Ryan going to the Texas Rangers. There you go, guys. There's your break. Appreciate you all for being here. I know it was a long one. Hope you guys had a good time. Hope to see you all next time. Have yourself a great night.